think inherent in the term smart city, there's a bit of a whiff of techno-solutionism that, technology is going to save everything, and that it doesn't have to be applied thoughtfully or within a greater context of what a city is and how it functions and the kind of messy realities of a city. And there's just been a lot of, associations with smart cities that they're not necessarily the kinds of cities that you and I would want to live in, right? So actually, we don't use that term. And intelligent city is one I haven't come across too much, but it sounds a little bit more interesting. But I think what I am most interested in and excited about is the idea of a city that just kind of works for people and that applies a more holistic lens that may incorporate technology and may incorporate design, but really puts people first. Delve is really exciting. It's one of the solutions that we've put out recently, and it's basically a tool that urban development teams can use, and it utilizes machine learning and cloud computation to kind of supercharge the urban development process in a way. So essentially what it allows is that if you're an urban development team and you're approaching, let's say, a neighborhood design, you can use this Delve solution, this Delve product, to iterate and generate thousands of different designs. And what's really interesting is that you, from the beginning, you put the constraints of the project into this tool, and you say, whatever, this neighborhood is zoned for XYZ, there's constraints of geography, there's constraints of whatever it might be. And you say, but here's what I want to prioritize for. I'm looking to create a neighborhood with X percentage amount of public space, green public space, or I'm looking to maximize the amount of housing units because I'm creating an affordable housing development and I need to create a lot of units. But at the same time, I don't want to sacrifice on, let's say, daylight, or as I mentioned, public space, or any of these other kinds of qualities that you want to make sure are imbued in the development project. And when you have a tool like Delve that utilizes machine learning relatively quickly, you can generate thousands of options and you can compare, and it becomes this really powerful way of evaluating what a neighborhood could be based on the outcomes that you're hoping to achieve, rather than kind of starting from scratch and hoping that the outcomes will just result kind of serendipitously. We did an episode on responsive architecture. And the idea of that episode was like, why couldn't our buildings respond to people? And so, for example, if it's raining, why couldn't an awning kind of extend from a building and create a covered walkway, for example? Or if there's a need for a large public space, why can't a building retract and create more of an open outdoor space? And things like that, I think, are really fascinating. Obviously, there's a lot of mechanical challenges around that. And there's also a data level challenge too. I do think that when you have more information about what's happening in the built environment, in a building, in a public space, that is the first step in allowing the built environment to respond and to provide what a community needs. The most important public spaces in a city is our street space, and it's one of the spaces that is most highly contested among different user groups, right? The streets need to do so much for us. And ideally, they'd be able to flex and accommodate those needs, right? They'd be able to say like, oh, we need a lot more space for outdoor dining. We need to currently take away parking spots for dining. Or, there's a lot of unloading happening right now. We need to create space where trucks can unload and take out packages. Or, hey, it's commuter time. We need a lot more people going through this street. Maybe we need to expand bike lanes. And right now we've thought of our streets as kind of a hard and limited space that can't change physically or even temporally, and that really doesn't have to be the case. What are the kinds of ways that you could utilize design and technology to allow a street to be more flexible, to be more responsive to what cities and people need?